order the May meeting of the Crawfordville City Council. Let's rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council members, you have had the minutes of the April 2nd meeting distributed to you, and you've had the opportunity to review them. Are there any changes that anyone wishes to make? And could I have a motion to approve the minutes as distributed?
I motion that we approve the minutes as distributed.
Second. Second by Mrs. Bowman. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The minutes are approved. Other requests, anyone? Mayor's report. The auditors did come and spent about 3 days with us. They have returned to their offices and they are working now on the completion of the audit for 2012. The representatives from Georgia Rural Water came and smoke tested our sewer system. They did locate several places where there were potential for stormwater to infiltrate the system. They marked those, and we have repaired all of them that we are aware of. They're still supposed to send a final report, and we'll check it to see if there are any that we missed. We had a 1-inch rain not long before the repair was done. We had a 1.6-inch rain just after the repair was completed, and there seemed to be a significant reduction in the amount of infiltration. So at that point, I felt pretty good about it. But over the weekend, we got 3.8 inches of rain, and our sewage treatment plant was filled with water. Eddie coped with it by pumping water out of the plant and through the drying beds, so that the water then slowly filters back into the plant. But we did not have any kind of a spill, but we had all the water we could possibly handle coming down there. So there is still somewhere out there that water is getting into the system. And I'm going to work with our engineers to see if we can come up with another way of trying to locate it. Also, when I get the report back, I know there is at least one section of the city that was not smoke tested. I'm going to see if there are any other sections besides that one and get them to come back and finish the job. Next item, the financial reports. The balance sheet shows that we have adequate funds on deposit in the enterprise fund to meet the city's needs, I think, for the foreseeable future. sheet of the budget versus actual for March 13. That is the water and sewer fund operation. Basically, our revenues were as budgeted. Actually, it was $189 over the budgeted amount. And our expenses have been $7,800 higher than budgeted. This is the same story as we've had before. This is where the road had sunk down on Newton Place, and we rebuilt a section of it, and we spent a large part of our repair funds all in the first month of the year. Whereas when we adopted the budget, we kind of had the repair expenditures spread out all across the year. Oh, it's really nothing to be alarmed about. There are adequate funds to cover it. It's just a matter of the timing being more rapid than we had anticipated. The next sheet is for solid waste fund. The charges for services have been $178 less than the budget. The cost of operating have been about $254 more than was budgeted. Again, we this year have a plan to make up the shortfall on the solid waste budget with a transfer from the government operating funds, but we won't do that till near the end of the year when we know exactly what the shortfall is going to be. Any questions about the enterprise operation? Okay, the next is the ballot sheet on the general government operating funds. Again, we have adequate funds on hand. You see that T-Splice has finally made its first payment, and that was $1,567 for 1 month. So if that's a measure of what we're going to get, we may eventually accumulate enough funds that we can repave Old Sandy Cross Road with. It had to be rebuilt. Moving on to the first page, the revenue and expenses for general government operations for the first quarter. We underran by $43. The judicial portion, there were no expenses because without the ability to issue tickets, we had no need to hold municipal court. Public safety, we have underrun on expenses $4,784 through 3 months. Public works, we have this was street repairs that we did all at one time instead of there being anything spread out over several months. So when the allocations that was spread to the other budget months begin to fall into place, this will all come, kind of catch up. Culture and recreation, we budgeted 3,000, we spent 3,000. Your final sheet is the total view of the general government operations. It shows the total revenues for 3 months, $5,400 under budget. The total expenses are $4,100 under budget. So right now we're about $1,300 behind, but that doesn't really pose any problem at this early stage. Any questions? Next item on the agenda, we have no old business. Under new business, there's an agreement between Talbot County and the city of Crawfordville to implement emergency telephone number 911 system plan. This version was just completed by the city attorney yesterday afternoon. I reviewed it. It has removed any requirement for the city to make any financial contribution. It is strictly an agreement that the county will provide 911 service, and unless there's some deliberate misconduct on their part, that any liability that the city incurs as a result of it will be the city's responsibility. Sent a copy of this to Sheriff Richards, and he called me this evening and said that he would be unable to attend tonight because his mother's brother had passed away, and but he would get with me later in the week after things will depend on so forth. So I recommend that you authorize me to sign this version of the document, and we will move forward if the sheriff accepts it. As things stand now, our police force has been denied radio communications ever since our last city council meeting because we did not sign that agreement. So by authorizing me to sign this, you commit no funds, but you place us in a position where the responsibility to fail to enter into an agreement would be the sheriff's and not ours. Any question?
I would like to get further understanding before I to sign, because
What do you not understand?
this, whereas I know we were asking for a fee for the 911 service.
There is no fee in this.
Right, there is no fee agreed in this.
The sheriff, told me verbally that he had dropped that request.
It's not an obligation, it's just something that you would, get with him on,
There's no money, there's no financial commitment on this. The only thing is, we accept liability responsibility, which I think we had all along, that, whatever happens as a result of our police officer being dispatched is the city's responsibility.
Okay, by signing this, does that mean that it would automatically return that he will be, is responsible for the 911 service? Or does he have to look over to agree that it's okay?
Well, he has to accept the agreement. It doesn't, I mean, our attorney, who is the same as his attorney,
Right,
has drafted it and recommends it. But beyond that,
but it's the
he's
same.
still his own person.
Right, but he also drafted the other one also, right?
No,
He didn't draft the
no,
other.
that other one was copied from the GFA website. And they plugged in Talbot County in the blanks in the city of Crawfordville.
well, I'm looking at, power to authorize this and present it to him.
Authorize the mayor to sign it.
Right.
Okay, is there a second? What are you gonna do if you wanna leave the chief wandering around out there with no radio communication for another month? I will second. There is a risk for our police force to be out there without communications. There's also a financial commitment because he can't run tags or do any vehicle checking or check a license even on a driver. So we need to do what we can to enable radio communications to be restored. And the final act is gonna be the sheriff's decision, but at least if we are in a position to sign this document, we have done all that we can. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Mr. Chapman, how do you vote?
Yes,
Ms. Bowman, how do you vote?
No,
Ms. Stewart, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Chapman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor, how do you vote?
Yes. The motion passes 4-1 with Ms. Bowman voting nay. Council members, that completes tonight's agenda. Is there anything any council member wishes to bring up? Do I hear that motion?
I motion that we adjourn.
This meeting is adjourned.
Change
is,
glass to the drum.
they should give it to Mark to sign, and